What's happening, SteelerNation? What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? How's everybody doing? I hope everyone is well. I hope you're doing okay. And I'd like to welcome you to the latest episode of Terrible Towel Tuesday, as it says right there, right there. Am I pointing at it correctly? Right there, right there. Welcome to Terrible Towel Tuesday. I am your host, SimFBallCritic, live from the Steel Basement, presented by the Steel Basement. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And I know some of you guys are mourning right now. The season is over. You're hurting. Some of you are pissed off for various reasons. You know, you're pissed off at the coaching staff, particularly Mike Tomlin. You're pissed off at Kenny Pickett's play during the season. You're definitely pissed off at number 10. And you're a little pissed off that the Steelers just couldn't get it done yesterday. I get it. But all of that is going to come together. And I'm going to talk about that as I talk about the head coach, Mike Tomlin, in tonight's video. And I'm going to get right into my stuff because I really want the phone calls to be, the highlight of the show. So let's do the normal. Let's say hello to the early commenters. Joshua Shields. Hello, Miss Destiny. Hello, Miss Lanisha. Got our lovely ladies in here early. Gotta say hello to them fellas. Lay out the red carpet. Y'all know. Take care of our ladies, our lovely ladies. Who else is this? Tigs a lot. Mark Cunningham. Did I say Joshua Shields already? Yes, I did. Who else? We have, that's a long name that I can't pronounce. I'm sorry. Why Diggy? Oroka White. Will I Am. He says, come on, Sim, with an exclamation. I don't know what that is. Maybe it's because I wasn't here. My bad, guys. I had some technical difficulties. Usually intend on starting right at 8 o'clock. I missed that mark tonight. I do apologize. Who else? Lyle McCombs is in the building. My good brother Kenyon in the building. Force Works in the building. Hello, Debbie. Another one of our lovely ladies of SteelerNation. Debbie in the building. Make sure you say hello, fellas. CT Pittman is in the building. Another one, Sade. The ladies is out and heavy in the chat tonight, man. Sade in the building. Hello, Sade. Good to see you. James Tresvant. Relfax. Steelers Lee. Father-in-law Leonard is in the building. Cutboy 412. And we'll stop right there. So let me stop wasting time and get right to it. So the first thing I'm going to talk about, guys, is a couple quick points. We'll talk a little bit about a couple things that, I heard from some of the players, listened to some of their interviews today, and I'll give you my quick thoughts on that. But then also I'll just give you my overarching, quick opinion again about last night's game. And then the last point will just be talking about Tomlin, and then I'm going to open things up to the calls because I'm sure you guys want to call in. The phone number's on the screen, as you see on the lower third there. And we're going to get to it, man, and take some phone calls. And I didn't even sit back in the back bar tonight. I said, nope, I'm going to come back old school style, the original style, get right up close to you, right in you guys' faces. So I know y'all want to dive in, so I'm right here ready to listen. So let's get to it. So really quick, man, let me pull up my little quick notes, man, that I had here. Very quick. I want to talk first about Cam Heyward, man. Cam Heyward, interesting tidbit that he provided in his interview. I think he did this interview maybe yesterday, but I saw it today. Cam Heyward said that he has been hurt since training camp. Wow, that was news to me. We all knew what happened to Cam Heyward, man, early in the season, going down with the groin. Said he basically tore it completely off the bone. But he said that he wasn't just sitting out for rest in training camp. He was having little mini tears here and there, and they were trying to manage it. He pushed through, and yeah, he's been hurt since training camp. And then he even said that Dr. Bradley had given him an assessment of 12 weeks. As far as his recovery time, he said he was back in 6, but he's really just been nursing it, kind of limping his way through it. And that sounds like Cam Heyward, man. One of the captains on the team, one of my favorite Steelers, man, of all time, I might say. Big Cam Heyward. And again, he's one of my favorite Steelers for many reasons. His grit, he is the Steeler way. Hey, for some of y'all that are from Pittsburgh, he's a Pittsburgh kid. He's just hard-nosed, puts his hard hat on, his lunch pail, and he goes to work every single time, man. And he is just the, what else? What can you say bad about Cam Heyward, man? Love that guy. I really do. So, wow, to hear that he has been hurt the entire season pretty much, it said a lot to me. Not that I had to question his character or anything before that, but interesting tidbit that he gave us, man. So shout outs to Cam Heyward. Cam did say also that, yes, he would like to play. He would like to come back and play for the Steelers. He wants to continue to play. So, he's not looking to retire at the moment. So that's good news. But, we have to acknowledge that Cam Heyward is getting older. He's definitely getting older. So Steelers definitely need to be on the lookout trying to replace him. And hold on. Got to interrupt myself. We got donations popping up already. Let's see. We got Steelers Lee, and it looks like we got 2 more coming in. We got Y Diggy and CT Pittman. Round of applause to all 3 of them gentlemen. I appreciate your donation. Thank you so much. Thank you. So let's read the comments, man. The first one is coming from Steelers Lee. Steeler Lee says, wonder if TJ gonna receive smoke for endorsing Tomlin. Probably, for those who oppose Tomlin, I'm sure. Well, you know what? I maybe he won't. And I'm gonna actually go into that too when I get to my Tomlin bit. Don't let me forget to say why he may not get smoke. I'll get to it. CT Pittman says, before you start on Tomlin, what's your thoughts on Jaylen Warren? Had a good season, but put the ball on the ground too many times, in my opinion. He did. And I'm glad to see that Jaylen Warren also mentioned he needs to work on some things. He says particularly ball security. So it's good that he understands that. Listen, I really like Jaylen Warren. Jaylen Warren has definitely been a spark plug for us. He was a spark plug a little bit last season, but I think we saw that really take another step this season. I like Jaylen Warren a lot. But hey, he's going to have to work on the ball control. I think you give Jaylen Warren another shot, of course, as the number 2 guy or the 1A, 1B guy. And, if he can't fix his ball security, then, we'll have to move on to the next guy, just like how we evaluate any other player. If you can't perform up to the standard that we need you to perform, then we got to replace you. But right now, I'm not really ready to back away from Jaylen Warren. I really like him. I like his energy. I like his demeanor, the way he plays, and I love that lightning to Najee's thunder. But actually, I heard somebody say earlier in the season, they almost like thunder and thunder. Jaylen Warren might be, quote unquote, a smaller back, but he's really not that small of a guy. He's compact. You know what I mean? He's not as tall in stature and as big as Najee, but he is a sizable guy. He's not a small guy, and he runs with intention. So I like Jaylen Warren a lot. My man Y Diggy says Kenny Pickett not showing up for media exit interviews might be a death knell for him in Pittsburgh. Just my opinion. Ooh. You know what? I didn't even pay attention to that. That's an excellent point by Y Diggy. Wow. Now, some might say that, okay, he doesn't want to field questions. I'm sure people would ask him questions about his future, the quarterback room, et cetera, but you've got to be that constant professional. You have to be that. I would prefer him to be the guy that takes that all in, right? And understands that's coming with it. I would prefer him to be that. So that is a great point, Y Diggy. That might not bode well for Pittsburghers, the Yinzers, and us Steeler fans. That kind of shows a little bit of maybe the skin ain't so tough. But, I'll back away from speculation because I don't know, but that is an excellent point. If, in fact, he absolutely just skipped out on media day. Wow. Interesting. But hold on. Got to pause again. We got 2 more donations coming from the same donator, Alpha God. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Let's read the comments. He says, let's see. Well, for some reason it shows as 2, but it is just 1 donation. But thank you either way. But for some reason it popped up like it was 2. But either way, much appreciated. He says, I know it's still early, but with Tomlin going into the offseason, who you think we should target in free agency and in the draft? Mike likes going into his camp with 4 quarterbacks. Honestly, I can't answer that question right now. I'm going to pass that question to my good brother Kenyon. And the reason why I say that, Kenyon is always ahead of the game. He's always ahead of me in terms of free agents, draft picks, and all of that. I just haven't really paid attention as of today who the free agents are and what positions. Yes, I think a quarterback is probably, you might want to do that because I'm pretty sure, I feel as if they're going to move on from number 10. Mason Rudolph is not under contract, so you're definitely going to have at least 1 more quarterback, and who knows? Would they be looking to draft the guy later in the draft? Would they be looking to bring in a UDFA? We shall see. But I definitely think it may behoove you to get a veteran backup if you can, or even a guy that can come in there and compete, because there's no guarantee that Mason Rudolph returns. So I'll just say, not sure who they should go get, but I think they should go and very well should be looking for someone. And I'll even go as far as to say also in the draft. Maybe not early in the draft because I just don't think they're going to make that type of investment unless they're completely out on Pickett. But if somebody is there, a value pick, I'm not opposed to that either. All depending on how free agency goes and the re-signing period, et cetera, et cetera. So that's good stuff right there. Appreciate that. Let's see. Next, let's talk about TJ Watt. And yes, TJ Watt stated, not only did he campaign for Tomlin, he stated, and I quote, he said, it was a part of my contract. I said I didn't want to play for any other coach. That's interesting. That's one heck of an endorsement. We all know how big that bag was for TJ Watt. We all know that TJ Watt was going to get the big bag, and he knew what his bargaining chips were. So for him to say, and again, sometimes these guys say things and, you can take it at face value or read into it or, but for him to publicly come out and endorse in that way and say, listen, it was a part of my contract, that's huge. That is huge. So I thought that was interesting, and I will talk about that here in a moment when I get to the Tomlin section. So what else did I grab from a couple of those interviews? Najee Harris. Thought that was very interesting. And actually, hold on. You know what? Let me see if I can find it really, 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 really quick. Give me a second. Excuse me, guys. I'm going to actually pull that one up if I can find it, because I thought it was very interesting. And I'm going to ask you all, what do you think was meant by it? So hold on. Let me see if I can find it. All right, here it is. So I'm going to play this, and hopefully you guys are able to hear it. All right, here it is. You guys are hearing that, right? Hold on. You might not be hearing it. Hold on. Give me a second. Give me a quick second. All right, here we go. It wasn't, for whatever reason, it wasn't loud in the video. So here it is.
In-house rules, not no changes or coach like that. It's just the rules that are in the building that, you know, we got to be more disciplined. We got to be we got to be more committed. You know, I'm not saying that we're not, but, you know, just coming from a place that has structure and coming just seeing, like, you know, we probably could get help in these areas. It might make a change. I think that's something. That's something that can help. I'm not saying nothing about coaches or anything like that. I'm just saying more of just in-house rules. You know, that's what I'm saying. In-house rules.
So you guys heard that, right? So I'm gonna ask you guys. Wait, let me double check because some of y'all said no. So did y'all just hear it? Because I turned it up. So confirm that you're able to hear that. And I'm gonna assume that you guys did hear it. But my question to you guys would be, what do you think he meant by that? What do you think he meant by that? Because I'm seeing a lot of narratives run around, but he said specifically, not talking about coaches or anything. I'm just talking about discipline and structure. I want to know what you guys think he meant, because I think he's speaking more to players. And the reason why I say that is remember earlier in the season after a loss, and they interviewed Najee, and he says something to the effect of, you know, everybody is not, maybe everybody doesn't have the same commitment. Remember he said that early? He said that like some weeks back. And then he comes back and says this. I think he's talking more so about the players. Let me see what y'all are talking about. Destiny says, holding each other accountable, starting with yourself. Mark Cunningham says it sounds like he's talking about the locker room. Let's see. Still 43 says, I think he wants players to be more focused on the team goals. Yes, that's what I'm thinking. Because remember, he said that earlier in the season. I think he's talking more so about the players. Now, it's tricky because he says in-house rules. So is he referring to something maybe Tomlin allows? It's possible. If you listen to the larger clip, he also says that, you know, he has a good relationship with Mike T, and sometimes Mike T would be like, be a running back, kind of telling him like, yo, just worry about your business. And again, I'm not going to speculate because we don't know what goes on in that building. But maybe a piece of that is kind of like, maybe we should handle things a little differently. Coach is going to have his own philosophy. But I do think largely he's talking about the players. That's just my opinion. Let me see what else you guys are saying. Can't treat an NFL locker room like a college locker room. Okay, somebody said Najee talks a lot. Dominic says, I wonder which players he's talking about, and Minka was talking about the same thing. Yeah. See what I'm saying? So I definitely think it's more player specific than it is coaching specific. And he said that. He said as much. But again, you know, people are spinning the narrative and saying, oh, that now you can tell the locker room is in disarray. Tomlin doesn't have a handle on the team. And I'm like, that's what y'all got from that. And again, whatever your perception was is your perception. None of us really know. None of us have a way to confirm. That's why I wanted to ask you all what you thought. But I thought it was interesting. But like I said, I feel like it's more player-based because I have another notation here. Jaylen Warren. They asked Jaylen Warren about those comments, and Jaylen Warren said as well, he says, well, he said he mentioned a little more structure also, right? And that's when I notated they seem to be talking about the players, because if you listen to what Warren said, it definitely seems slanted towards the players. So maybe some of the players They talked kind of about practice. Jaylen Warren was mentioning like, maybe everyone is not practicing at the same level or having the same level of focus and commitment. So I think the overarching point is Najee would prefer that everyone would be a little more focused, and maybe some of the rules that are in place doesn't enforce that so much. And that's a fair assessment. You can like your boss or your manager or whoever, your coach, and have suggestions on how you think things could be better. So that's how I take it, because he kept saying it's not about the coaches, but I do think that he's talking about, just talking about things that they may be able to do to keep everybody more locked in. But I just thought it was interesting. I thought it was very interesting points there. Ali says, and somebody else said it too. He talked about them Georgia boys. Yeah, and I do think he was talking about Pickens, because remember when Najee first said something, it was when Pickens was showing out. So there you have it. Let's see. I think that's all I got before I get directly into Mike Tomlin. Oh, no. My bad. Let's talk really quick, really briefly about the game. Listen, the game was yesterday. I didn't really get a chance to rewatch it, but watching it in real time, the issues in that game was so apparent. It's not like I really need to rewatch to give the same assessment that I gave last night, but I'll just recap it again. Man, listen, that game was lost with the Bills taking full advantage of the Steelers' disadvantages, right? Inside linebacker position, they exploited that, and they got 2 touchdowns out of it. Miles Jack, they just picked on Miles Jack a couple times, and they used the tight ends, which I said we needed to limit the tight ends, and they used the tight ends in both scenarios. The first one, it looks like they left the area open in the corner route that Dalton Knox ran. It was left open, whether that was, Landon Robertson's issue or Patrick Peterson or, Eric Rowe not getting over the end time. I don't know whose responsibility it was until I see the all-22 and, kind of digest and assess what coverage they were in. But then on that second one, I mean, it was clearly just taking advantage of Miles Jack. And my goodness, man, I mean, right at Miles Jack, and they hit Dalton Kincaid, who, by the way, was an ace for me for a good portion of fantasy. But that did it right there, man. I mean, that got them out in front, right? And, that Dalton Kincaid, did I say, is that kid's name Dalton Knox also? Or am I calling both of them Dalton? I don't know. Y'all know who I'm talking about. Knox is number 88. I can't remember his first name, but Dalton Kincaid obviously is the young rookie from Utah. But that came right after a fumble by George Pickens. Very next play. And then, Josh Allen, man, just able to get out of the pocket. And I want to look at that one again as well on the all-22. I think it might have been man. Just kind of judging how easy he was able to step up and how fast he stepped up and got through that lane. It makes me feel like we may have been in man coverage. I honestly don't know, because I only watched that play in real time. I did not rewatch the game or film. I don't have the film yet. But I kind of feel like as fast as he stepped up in between that rush and nobody was right there immediately, it makes me feel like we may have been in man coverage. And then, he just runs through number 23. I mean, literally runs through number 23. I know there's footage out there now showing that there was a hold on that play. I mean, don't get me started on the referees. They missed a ton of stuff, in my opinion. But, you make the tackle, man. You get the guy on the ground and you defend every blade of grass, as Mike Tomlin would say. And we did not do that. Some people are even saying on Twitter, and I don't know, it's close, but some people are saying he did the fake slide, or I don't know. It kind of looked like he stopped and then changed direction. I don't know if he really went into the slide motion, but maybe he did, maybe he didn't. I didn't look at the video that closely. I just saw people posting that. Because I never try to run to that. I never try to run to excuses when you lose a game. It is what it is. Even if he did do that, you make the tackle because, again, number 23's arms are around him. You make the tackle, and there it is. So, I don't know. But that's why they lost, man. And then they just couldn't get the offense going. You saw all of those 3 and outs, and then eventually the offense gets a little bit of life. We pull it within 7. We make it competitive. They didn't quit. They didn't give up. It was good to see that. But they just could not overcome the hole that was built, because the defense just didn't hold as well. The defense didn't hold enough. No TJ Watt. I mean, yeah, the pass rush that we were accustomed to was half of that. And then those inside backers, and then Patrick Peterson out at corner just has no intentions of tackling anybody. And that's how they lost the game, man. And I know some people are going to say, well, what about the defensive coverage and calls and blah, blah, blah. I get it, but a lot of those calls are going to be vanilla. When you got guys like Miles Jack back out there and rotating other guys like Mark Robinson in at inside linebacker. And, it ain't too many exotic things we can do with that group of players out there. It is what it is, and that's how they lost. But that's all I got on that, man. The Bills just took advantage of the weaknesses of the Steelers. Again, the 2 touchdowns to the tight ends showed you exactly how they were able to expose our weaknesses, which have definitely been tight ends and guys down the middle, i.e. McBride from the Cardinals. That's just an area that we just have not been able to defend. Yes, Minkah Fitzpatrick was back, but also Minkah Fitzpatrick was back for the first time in plenty of weeks and out there trying to play an NFL game. His legs probably wasn't completely under him. You know what I mean? So it is what it is, guys, and that's what happened. So let's talk a little Mike Tomlin real quick. Let's do a time check. Oh, good. We had 27 minutes. I'm moving right along. All right, let's talk Mike Tomlin, guys. I'm just going to state a couple things, and then I'm going to open it up for phone calls. I've been repeating this sentiment for the last month, but I will repeat it again since the loss in the playoff game. Mike Tomlin's overall playoff record is not great. It's not stellar. Nothing to write home about. The one thing that Mike Tomlin can hang on in his career is that he did get to the big dance twice, and he won one. That's what he can hang on. Ever since then, his playoff record hasn't been stellar. Last playoff victory that he received was going to Kansas City, winning that game. That was a tightly contested game, winning that game. Remember that crazy catch AB made off of the deflection? Somehow winning that game. And then you go to New England and just get completely exposed. And I'm going to go into it here in a moment. But since then, you're 0-5 now in playoffs, and the margin of victory has been bad. There's none of that you can't refute any of that, right? Doesn't look good. But here's the question. How much of that do we completely put on Mike Tomlin? And I'm talking all of those years. Let's go all the way back to the Super Bowl against Green Bay. I'm going to ask y'all a question. First thing that comes to your mind, who, it's the same word, who and who, but who singularly and who as a collective you feel was more responsible for the Steelers losing against Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers in the last Super Bowl appearance? Some of you guys give me some of the answers on that. In your mind, who do you think was the most responsible for the loss against the Green Bay Packers in that Super Bowl, who do you put most of the blame on when you go back and look at it, or even when it happened? Who did you feel let you down? Like, who would you say if it hadn't have been for that, they would have? Who was that? Andre Romero says the offense. Steeler Card says Big Ben's picks, Mendenhall's fumble. Black Lion says Big Ben blew the game. Debbie says Mendenhall fumble and Ben Roethlisberger. Okay, who else? Knight Rider says, I don't know, that's a long time ago and I don't really matter now. Okay, I'm with you. I'm going to get to the point, I promise. Pittsburgh Toddy says Mendenhall. Dominic says Mendenhall fumble. TJ Pope says Mendenhall fumble. Mr. L27 says Big Ben. Forcework says offensive coordinator. Wow. Okay, so far out of all of those replies, I haven't seen one person say Mike Tomlin. Okay. Clock management. Okay. One person did say clock management. Knight Rider says it's just a way to deflect the blame from Tomlin. Okay, that's your opinion. I promise you I'm going to make a point. So here's part of my point. Was Mike Tomlin the problem then? And I hear all of these players, TJ Watt, Cam Heyward, hey, our beloved Troy Polamalu. All of these players coming out and saying you crazy if you don't want him to be the coach. What I'm saying is they're all saying that he's been the same this entire time. So do you guys think that all of a sudden he just forgot how to coach? Well, was he the same guy? That's fair. Steeler Card says Patriots always outcoached us. That is fair. I don't refute that. I think Bill Belichick outcoached a lot of people. We're talking about Bill Belichick and Tom Brady, who have 6 Super Bowls of their own. So it's not an indictment to my Steelers team to say that we got outcoached because they did that to everybody. And Bill Belichick and Tom Brady's run is an anomaly. That don't happen often. That's like the Bulls three-peats. I mean, it's like what the Warriors were doing for a little bit. That's like what the Steelers did in the 70s. So here's my point. And let me qualify my point. I'm not making excuses for Tomlin. I'm just putting things in perspective because I'm going to let y'all do that tonight. I told y'all, I'm not debating or arguing with anyone about Tomlin. I'm past that. I want to let y'all do it. I want to hear y'all's opinions, whether it's good or bad. I just want to hear people's thoughts. That's why I'm asking. So Knight Rider, with all due respect, please do not say to me that I'm trying to deflect blame from Tomlin. I am not. I don't care who was the head coach right now. Nameless face. I put things in perspective. So for any of y'all who ever think that I'm never going to come on this show and campaign and throw pom-poms for somebody over the organization, you ain't never got to worry about that. I just try to put things in perspective. You're talking to the same guy that say, man, it's been 17 years. If he was not the coach any longer, there would not be a tear shed from my eye. I'd be like, okay, he had a nice run. Didn't do as great as we thought you would have did with all of those playoff appearances. You should have done better. You got a ring. Okay, great. Let's see what the next coach can do. That would be my whole mentality after 17 years. If Mike Tomlin would have been let go after year 6, I might have had a problem. Like, whoa, why we did that so quick? But after 17 years, even if you a diehard fan of somebody, you got to be like, yeah, that's a long time. Just making a point. Okay, so let me ask y'all this. We definitely got our butts kicked against Kansas City. Our defense was horrible. Y'all remember the type of people we had out there in the secondary? All right, so next, let me ask y'all this. Who do we blame the most for when we lost against Jacksonville in the divisional playoffs? After a 13-3 season, after a season where we should have been 14-2 because Jesse James caught it. Who comes to mind first and foremost? Who comes to mind first and foremost when you say, how did we lose the Jacksonville game? Like I said, I'm just getting you guys' opinions. I'm not debating nobody. I just want to see the thoughts of the fan base because it's so split. Some people are so high, some people are so low. So I want to know my community here. I want to know you guys' thoughts. Just so I can get a gauge of how our little family over here get down. Mick Dave says Tomlin. Okay. Steeler Lee says the secondary and Shazier injury. Ooh. Andre says Tomlin and the defense. Okay. Rajan says Ben. Sade says Ben. Ali Howard says Big Ben, 5 turnovers. Ooh. Knight Rider says Tomlin's defense. Okay. So looks like Knight Rider has a theme here. I'm not mad at that. Steeler Card says the Jacksonville game was the most heartbreaking loss for me. Okay. Anybody else? Force Work says Mike Tomlin defense. Okay. McDave said that's on Tomlin. Okay. Real Fact says Big Ben. Whoa. We got a donation. CT Pittman, round of applause. Appreciate it. CT Pittman says, not pointing fingers at any person, we consistently make critical mistakes in big games. Just like yesterday. I'll just say lack of focus. Good point. You know, a huge mistake we made yesterday as well that could have changed the tide of the game in the red zone. Actually, if I'm not mistaken, we might have been an in goal to situation in the reindeer, which not saying that disrespectfully, because I think Mason Rudolph showed himself well in these last few games. He threw an end zone interception. The Steelers get points right there. Might change the complexion of the game. So, mistakes. Why Diggy says Keith Butler and Shazier injury. I'm going to pause right there. The reason why I'm going to pause right there, I promise y'all I'm making a point. That's the first one I heard say Keith Butler. That's funny because I definitely recall how much you all here in this chat, a lot of us, how much we dumped on Keith Butler during his tenure. Oh, I remember. But somehow we've totally forgotten that. And everything is the head coach's fault. Okay, fair. So the last question I have for y'all. Who do we blame for the loss against the Cleveland Browns in Pittsburgh? Who comes to mind first why we lost that game? Y'all know the one. And y'all know the guy who beat us. Same guy who beat the Eagles last night. Who do we blame the most, in your personal opinion, for that loss? Let's hear it. Okay. So I see Pouncey, aging Ben, Tomlin. What's up, Mark? Pouncey. Okay. Debbie says more than Tomlin at the time. Actually, still LeBeau defense at the time. Yeah. Somebody says I think it's actually better than. Okay. You said whoa. Dominic says he thinks Butler is actually better than Austin. Wow. Do y'all agree with that? Steeler Lee says Pouncey's bad snap. Sade says, woo, those snaps, those offense definitely costed us. Yep. Ben, 100% Big Ben. Wow, Claude. Big Ben and Pouncey. Okay. Entire offense was out of sync. Okay. Offensive turnovers and defense. Okay. All right. So my only point for doing this quick exercise, do you see how everyone's opinions vary? And I didn't see a whole lot of Tomlin blame out of those three scenarios. Just us. It's just our opinion. None of us know the real reason. But it's interesting how I gave three different scenarios and I didn't see an overwhelmingly, I didn't see people say Tomlin. Some of y'all did. And I can respect it. It seems like Knight Rider just doesn't care for Tomlin. I respect it. We all know Mark Malone doesn't. I respect it. Like I told y'all, I'm not here to. This is a safe place. But it's interesting how not many of you guys said absolutely Tomlin. So the reason why I said all that, to bring it all home, is yes, our playoff career in the last 17 years has not been great. I always tell you guys, my biggest disappointment in the Tomlin era is that we did not win a Super Bowl with the Killer Bees, and me understanding how bad our defense was at that time. Defenses were not good. But I still felt like that was the time when teams were literally scared to play us offensively. They were scared because we had so many weapons. That's my biggest disappointment. I thought for sure we coming out of there with one of them. And we didn't. But I say all that to say this. Be careful what you wish for, man. Be careful. There's no guarantee that we get another coach and we in the playoffs often. Or we're in the conversation often. I say this all the time and I'm going to say it one last time. For 17 years, Mike Tomlin has given you guys a reason to be disappointed. Think about what I'm saying. That's a little deep. He has given you a reason to be disappointed. The Steelers fan base didn't have to sit in the stands with the bag over their head. Shout outs to the Saints. Shout outs to the Lions. The new Lions. No more the same old Lions, huh? For 17 seasons, we've been on the edge of our seat thinking we was going to do something or then get let down. Here we come again. Oh, man, this might be the year. And all I'm saying is there's no guarantee that happens. There's no guarantee. I'm all in favor for if there is time for a new coach. It might be. Donation. Round of applause. Appreciate that, Steeler Lee. That's where I was going next. And I'm going to keep it brief. Do we not consider the organization as a whole, from the way they did contracts, from the drafting with Kevin Colbert and others? There's a lot of other reasons. That's why I say coaches get too much credit for winning and too much blame for losing. I will always say that about a head coach. Because what Mike Tomlin is not, in my opinion, he's not Brandon Staley. I think many of us who watch football have been able to say, ooh, that was bad coaching. When it comes to that guy. Then it's a shame because I really like Justin Herbert. I really think he's one of them when he's on. So it was like, ooh, man, they just make some weird. Staley would do some very strange things as a coach. And then again, Mike Tomlin's warts, time management, and challenges. I don't know why they don't have somebody dedicated to do that, because he has not been good with those things. Has not been good with those things, bro. He has not. Oh, look at that. We got another donation. My little singing moment didn't come on yet, but I see it. Thank you, Mariana Papa. So I'm going to go ahead and give you a round of applause ahead of the alert. Excellent point. Big Roethlisberger's salary. A lot of stuff had to go into that, man. And then on top of that, some of y'all just make up stuff. I saw somebody in my last video last night leave a comment saying, for Tomlin's entire career, he's had he didn't say generational, but he said an elite, something like one of the best quarterbacks to ever do it, something to that effect. And he didn't win anything. And I'm like, okay, we all understand the playoff record hasn't been great, but did they not win a Super Bowl? So, and it's funny because most of the time people say, oh, but that was Cowboys players. I mean, it's like the man said he didn't win nothing with Ben. He never won anything with Ben Roethlisberger. Like I said, I feel like with Ben Roethlisberger at the helm in his prime years with the Killer Bees, that is the biggest miss of Mike Tomlin's career. I don't solely blame Mike Tomlin, but that's the one blemish that I would say, man, that was the moment I thought you would get him one. Another one. I thought you would get your DJ Khaled on. Another one. And did not. So there you have it. But like I said, man, it's all mute because they reported today that Mike Tomlin said he will be back. He informed the players that he will be coaching next season. You know, regardless of the narrative out there of him not coaching, as well as it's been rumored that the Rooneys will be extending him. So I'm sorry for those of you who do not like Mike Tomlin. It's unfortunate that, hey, you got to deal with him again. And it is what it is. Like I told y'all, I'm right down the middle. I have no problem with Mike Tomlin being the head coach. Here's one caveat that I would mention to you guys. Actually, yes, I see. Thank you, Antoine. He says, remember the would have been Killer Bee defense. Colbert missed a lot. Yeah. See, Antoine Hill sent me something a long time ago, man, that showed how many players that could have been, you know, and it woulda, coulda, shoulda. We could always play that game, but it was very interesting to read and see. Shout outs to Buddha Blaze. Appreciate that donation. Round of applause. It's a good question. And you know what? I will call him his name just because I want to read your comment, but you know, he's number 23 to me. He says, did KZ suspension change how the defense tackles? Seems like they eased off instead of hitting. Eased off on hitting. Possible. I mean, it's possible. You know, I think the NFL largely, players are pump faking when they tackle. I mean, look at what happened to Miles Jack last night. That was crazy. But it's very possible. It's very possible. But like I said, guys, this is not an endorsement, man. I don't need to endorse the head coach, whoever they are. The players are doing it. The ex-players are doing it. And that's just where I stand with it. You know, I'm not going to waste my time complaining so much about Mike Tomlin until he does things that I know for sure came from him, in which I do. You know, I'm not patting myself on the back. I'm just saying I always call out his time management. I call out his challenges. I even last night, I was like, I don't know what happened with that timeout sequence. Why you called the timeout at like 4 seconds. I kind of understood why maybe you don't take the timeout at 43 seconds, given the fact that Allen is driving down the field. That one sack I don't think that was going to deter him. But I don't get the last moment timeout. And if they would have just let the clock expire, I would have stuck to my point and said, well, maybe they didn't feel like they were stopping them. And, you know, you just want to get into the half 21-7. But I don't know why they called that. I have no idea. I really don't. But yeah. So yeah, like I said, I don't have an issue with him being the coach, man, because here's the one thing I think we're missing. Omar Khan. Let's not forget how much we praised Omar Khan for everything he attempted to do in his first official offseason. I do believe that if Omar Khan continues to be aggressive the way he has been and the way they go after these free agents, I do believe with the roster constructed well, I do think a Mike Tomlin-led team can go to the Super Bowl. I do. Will it happen? I don't know. But I think if they put a roster together, I have to give credit to the Ravens. The Ravens right now are clicking offensively and defensively. That's not something, if we're being honest with ourselves, we haven't been able to say that about the Steelers in a very long time. Look at the Niners, offense and defense. When is the last time, honestly, put your feelings for the coach aside, when is the last time you felt like the Steelers were like that offensively and defensively? When? When was the last time that you said that's a championship team right there? For the last 10 years, we just been on hope. We ain't been on no confidence. We've been on hope. Man, if they could just, if they could just, that's what we've said. These other teams that have been winning this stuff, they are like that on both sides of the ball. There's no question. They walk in with the swag because they know, oh, we like that. Our offense puts up points, our defense shuts people down. We haven't been able to say that about the Pittsburgh Steelers. We didn't say that against New England in the championship game. We didn't say that even against the Jags. So that's all I'm saying, man. It's, again, some of y'all try to blame me for, oh, he's just campaigning. I'm not. If y'all told me another coach would take over the Steelers for 2024 and we go to the Super Bowl, yes, me with the hand up. Yeah, sign me up for that. Sign me up. I'm just being objective. Look at how many of y'all said, yeah, that's never happened. That's what it. So that's the thing. That's the only reason why I pick with us fans. And I didn't mean to be so long-winded tonight, man. I'm about to get to the cause. That's why I pick with us as fans so much. We set these expectations knowing the truth. Most people before yesterday said the Steelers are not going to beat the Bills in the playoffs. Most people. As soon as they lose, oh, it's everybody's fault. But you said they weren't going to win. Did you not say that? I know I did. Y'all got on me for that. Remember? Oh, y'all got on me for that. Man, you ain't showing no faith. It ain't that I ain't showing no faith. I just don't think the team is that good. I'm not going to excuse the entire season just because Mason Rudolph seemed to give him a little bit of life for those 3 previous weeks. I took into account that it was Cincinnati that he got off on. So did Kenny Pickett. I took into account that was a good win going up to Seattle. Seattle hadn't been playing great defense the previous weeks, and you could run on them. That was their weakness. Devin Witherspoon went out for them. They wasn't quite the same. They're led at linebacker by Devin Bush in that game. And I don't know if I just said Witherspoon or White, but y'all know what I'm talking about, the corner. Devin Witherspoon. I keep saying the wrong name. They hadn't been good. Remember I told y'all that going into that game, Seattle had given up 5 straight carriers of 150 yards or more. So what did the Steelers do? Run, Forrest! And they beat them. Easy. They go to Baltimore and they play not Lamar Jackson, not some of the key players. A couple of them was on defense. Their front was kind of there. Ran the ball and won. Again, I'm not taking nothing away from Mason Rudolph, but what I'm saying is the Steelers' offense was putrid. It was horrible. most of the season. So I don't understand why, after seeing that type of season, how we just they better win this game. But like I said, most of y'all said they were going to lose. But as soon as they lost, now y'all want to blame the coaches and everybody else. I don't get it. If you be more real with yourselves as a fan, I'm telling you, you won't be as disappointed. Let's get to the phones, man. Let's get to the phones. I've talked long enough. What time is it? We'll spend about 15, 20 on calls or so. Let's see how many we got. All right, right now we have a total of 5 calls. All I ask y'all to do, keep it concise and brief. Do not go beyond a long time, because if you do, I'm going to have to mute you and move on. And don't say, hey, I'm going to try to be quick and then go long. Don't do that. I let y'all slide sometimes, but come on. In and out. All right, first up, we have area code 214. What you got for us?
Hey, Sam, this is Brent Fox calling from Dallas, Texas, man. Thank you for having me on, first and foremost. Just to kind of review this particular season, I think it's actually beyond expectation. This particular team, or group of athletes is what I like to call them, could have easily been a 7-10 or a 6-11 type team. And we were a 10-7 team with a playoff berth. I think that kind of speaks volumes to the coaching and the resilience of the group themselves. So I think it's still kind of a season to be proud of. I know that there aren't any participation or moral trophies or anything like that, but I think the fact that it's better than expected says a whole lot. And that's pretty much all I have, man. I just want to leave it on a positive note.
Man, thanks for calling, Brent. You know how much I appreciate you, man. Been a long time extended family member, and I want to apologize to y'all too, man. I didn't get y'all that previous footage. The week got away from me. I'm making the promise this week. You will get the footage from this playoff game. I'm gonna get to that, man. If I'm gonna really try to get to it tomorrow, which is probably when I'm gonna get to all 22. So what I might do is I might just do it on spare moment. Don't even review it. I might just review it and show y'all as I'm reviewing it in real time. That might be cool. But yeah, I mean, listen, I know it's hard to look at things positively and like he said, moral victory, because it's been so long, and I get it. I kind of feel like Rich Eisen in this regard. Rich Eisen, he definitely confesses his love for Mike Tomlin, which is cool. And I've told you guys, listen, I like Mike Tomlin. He got his issues like every other coach, but largely I like Mike Tomlin. But I get it. I'm not disagreeing with anybody who feels like, man, I want a new voice. Okay. It's been 17 years. All I'm saying is they be careful what you ask for. There ain't no guarantee. We don't know who's coming in next. And it does speak to something to be able to be at a certain level of consistency. I know we're not winning the chips. I get it. I'm with y'all too. I would love that number 7 just as much as y'all would. But I think it does kind of speak to, Here's a question I got really quick, man. I see it in the chat. Steelers Freak, excuse me. Thanks for posting it. He says 8-10 in the playoffs. Is that Tomlin's full record? Is that his full record? I'm not 100% sure, but I want to highlight that if that is the case. Next up in the queue, man, area code 505. What you got for us?
Hey, what's up, Sam? Can you hear me? Hey.
Yes, sir.
All right. So I've already voiced my frustration with Tomlin, but this is what makes it even deeper, okay? Ever since we lost to the Packers, we lost in the playoffs to Tim Tebow. Baltimore at home, and it's not even close. We lose one piece, and all of a sudden the offense is just gone, and we lose to Baltimore. And we go up into New England and get smacked because Tomlin doesn't have any control over that locker room. And the one ring that he has, he won with the team that the previous coach drafted, Bill Cowher. Where am I at? Oh, yeah. And we lose one linebacker, and we lose one player on the defense, Ryan Shazier, and we give up 45 points to Blake Bortles at home. And then after that, we lose at home to a rival that we've killed at home over the past freaking 20 years in the playoffs. We get blown out in the wild card round. And it's not like we're even getting ourselves in the playoffs. We're having teams help us get in the playoffs. We can't even get ourselves in the postseason anymore. It's frustrating, man. And, the only thing that Mike Tomlin has is, he has no losing seasons. Well, when is losing in the wild card a winning season? That's not a winning season. That's not the standard that this team claims to abide by. It's garbage now. We're not the Pittsburgh Steelers anymore. And it's very disappointing. His great franchise came and get out of the wild card round, and we're the new Dallas Cowboys now. That's all I have, Sim. Thanks.
Hey man, thanks for calling. I appreciate the comment. I'll just respond really quick, and this is a question to everybody. Let me ask y'all something. In his career, do you guys think John Gruden is a bad coach? Let me get some answers to that really quick before I dive in. Speaking of some other things that you mentioned, I will also say this as well, 505. Not just you, I think largely fan bases, we put too much blame on a head coach. And I'm not just talking Tomlin. Some of the things that I think that we blame Tomlin for, it's more blame to go around than just that. It's way more blame to go around than just Tomlin. Like when people say, we lost to Tim Tebow, Tomlin, I don't know how we solely put it on the head coach himself. They're doing the same thing in Philly. All of a sudden now, Nick Sirianni is a bad coach because they had a collapse. But what about the players? And Philly players weren't playing up to their potential. But hold on, let me see if y'all see if anybody answered that question. Nobody really answered it. But the reason why I asked that question is I don't like the narrative, man, of somebody won with somebody else's team. Give me a team of superstars, right? And send me out there to coach them. I'm not going to win a game if I'm not a good coach, even though the players are talented. If I can't scheme them up and all, I'm not going to win with them. So that's why I don't like that. I don't like when people say that because a bad coach can't win with your team either. So I don't like that, man. And you guys always say that. Some of y'all always say, well, it was somebody else's team. Yeah, okay, so let's look at the players that were drafted during the Tomlin era. And not to mention, Kevin Colbert was the GM for both. A lot of times, even with the draft, people always want to point to Tomlin's head, right, for the bust. But y'all don't give him no credit for TJ Watt. No credit for TJ. No credit for Le'Veon. No credit for AB. No credit for Cam Heyward. Lawrence Timmons. No credit for none of these dudes who were studs for the Steelers during Tomlin's tenure. That's why, like I said, and again, 505, I'm not blaming you. I don't know if this fits you, but sometimes people spin narratives for it to work with their argument. And I try my best not to do that because, again, it's not about Mike Tomlin. Even though I think Mike Tomlin is a good coach, it's not about that. I just look at the totality of the NFL. Yes, the Steelers were a dynasty at one time. That became the standard. They got 2 more after that. But there ain't but 2 teams, actually. There's only 2 teams in NFL history that have 6 Super Bowls. 2. So I understand the standard is the standard, but I think people still stop and forget how difficult it is to win a Super Bowl. I digress. Area code 443. What you got for us? Hello. 443.
I'm here. My fault, Sam. I'm here. What's going on, man?
What's going on, brother?
Good evening to all the ladies in the chat. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. Just real quick, man. I didn't know that Mike Tomlin wore number 56 and missed that tackle in the backfield for a loss. I didn't know that Mike Tomlin ran back on the field and put on number 29 and was arm wrestling with the wide receiver while Allen was running up towards him. They're watching him run past him and then try to chase him. I didn't know Mike Tomlin put on number 39 and missed that tackle for the touchdown. I didn't know that Mike Tomlin put on number 88 and fumbled. I didn't know that Mike Tomlin wore number 14 and fumbled. I didn't know that Mike Tomlin played against Tim Tebow and came down in the box wearing number 29 when he wasn't supposed to take away the slant when Ike Taylor was playing on the outside for the touchdown against Tim Tebow. I didn't know that either. Man, Mike Tomlin is a mean dude. I didn't know he had all those skills. To answer your question, you asked about Gruden. The reason why you asked about Gruden, I'll say it, is because Gruden won with Tony Dungy's players. If that's what y'all want to keep saying about Tomlin, right? Gruden won with Tony Dungy's players, constructed, hand-built by Tony Dungy. Come on, people, let's get real. Last thing, man, y'all got y'all hopes up high. Sim told y'all that you dudes was fool's gold from the beginning. I agreed with him. Y'all did kill Sim. Y'all told Sim to keep the same energy. I thought he kept the same energy. This is your Steelers team. Offensively, start slow, get behind, rally back, fall short, rinse and repeat. That's what your team has done this whole year. It is what it is. But that don't make me less of a fan. I just keep it 100. Thanks for the call, man.
Man, appreciate your call as well. I just try to keep it the same at all times. That's it. And here's what's funny to me, and I'm going to call you out, this guy here, because sometimes what I don't tolerate, right, is comments that don't have no merit or make zero sense. Blue Gold says, the coach don't matter on this channel, but look at the Texans. A coach made an impact there. What are you talking about? When have I ever said the coach don't matter? What are you talking about? The mere debate is whether or not a good coach or a bad coach could have this team in the conversation for 17 years. That's the whole point of this whole back and forth. And it ain't no debate with me, because like I said, I'm not here to make you like or dislike Mike Tomlin. But what are you talking about? I don't think anybody here that watches this show, comments, calls, would say that the coaching don't matter. What are you talking about? What narrative are you drawing up? I don't get it. I'm sorry. It makes no sense, brother. I don't know what you're talking about. But I invite you to call and explain yourself. Don't just be a chat warrior. He says me all episode. Well, how about this? It's funny you're here watching all episodes, so you must enjoy it. Next up, area code 757. What you got for us?
Well, man, what's going on? How you doing?
Good. How you doing?
Thanks for taking the call.
Yes, sir.
Good. couple things for you, man. When everyone wants to blame Tomlin, first of all, let's get this right. I'm not a Tomlin fan. I'm not a Tomlin hater. As long as you are helping the organization win, I'm with you. When you are not helping them win, then, well, that's the issue. There's a lot of blame to go around. Talking about drafting, Colbert and so forth. When you draft people like Jarvis Jones, who has degenerative disc in his back, a thinning of the spine, and he's on the end, do your due diligence, and no, that's never going to improve. That's only going to get worse. You look at Artie Burns. If you look at his college film, first of all, the name is bad. Burns. You can get burnt. But if you pay attention to his college film, the dude held people all the time. But what he did, he was faster than anybody, so he try to make up with the speed he had. His technique and everything was flawed. All right? Edmonds, second, third round grade. A lot of misses. So I agree with you with the Killer Bees. We missed that window. But if you want to blame Tomlin for something, for a couple things, but look at that Cardinals game. After you see the complete garbage that Mitch Trubisky, number 10, was putting on the field, what he was doing, look in that man's eyes. He looked confused. He looked straight scared walking out the tunnel and on the sideline. Like he had no clue. By putting him in the next game as a starter, Tomlin made that call. That's on him. That lays at his feet. All right? I say that to say this. If we won those games, let's go to the game with the Colts, we wouldn't be in Buffalo. Now, granted, we played, well beyond ourselves on certain things. We beat up on teams that, they weren't their best. But that's not going to help you when it comes to dealing with a team that's hungry and that's playing, that has a feel of destiny about them. That's a problem. You're not going to beat that team. It is what it is. We messed up early, and, of course, we didn't come back. And I don't know if anybody else in here played football. But when you play in those kind of temperatures, it hurts when you hit people. I'm telling you. It is what it is. I watched a lot of people sit there and whiff on tackles and, not put, they all into tackles because, it hurts. You know what I'm saying? And Patrick Peterson should have retired. We got that dude. He's never, low-key, he's never been a tackler like that. So what was anybody expecting from this guy? Next year, hopefully, and like I said, I hate to sound like a Cowboy fan with that next year stuff, so I got to agree with the one caller. Next year, hopefully, we show up the defense, and we got to get to a point where we have good coordinators in place. Tomlin, that's another thing about him, I forgot. He hires his own coordinators. But by sticking with them when they are showing you who they are, year after year, that falls at his feet as well. That's an issue. If the person ain't good at the job, if you're not good at your job, your supervisor's going to get rid of you. So Tomlin should have pulled the trigger on that quicker, sooner than what he did. Let's just hope they show up the defense, that we get, players in place that actually do the job for us, what we need, because we are letting talent go to waste. Kenny Pickett was a total, reach as a first-round pick. When my friends were sitting there talking about it, when that pick came and they were clapping about it, I sat there and told one of my boys, I'm like, look, the same hand you clapping with, you can have it around your own neck, choking yourself, because dude is hot garbage. It is what it is. Can't read defenses, and I watched him in college, so I don't know. I don't get paid to pick these people. People are getting paid to draft them, and they ain't doing their job on certain things. I appreciate your call, brother. Keep doing what you do.
Man, thanks for the call. I definitely appreciate it. Yeah, man, I got to agree with him 100% on one thing, and I'm going to give him a round of applause at that. Thank you. Thank you for calling and giving real, concrete coaching things that you can identify that you got to put on Tomlin's head. I fully agree with you. Maybe not the next game because, okay, you want to give him a benefit of the doubt. He came in during the Cardinals game. I was there. Didn't do well. Short week. He got all of the reps. But he should not have been the starter in the Colts game. I fully agree with that. That was a coaching decision. Yes. Yes. See, folks, give me concrete. Give me concrete information. Don't just say he sucks. When you can't pinpoint. I respect when you can say, man, I don't like dude because of this. Blah, 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 blah. Hey, I respect that. My man is right. He's right. I got nothing else to say. He's right. Oh, I do got one more thing to say. Look, this is going to be my last warning. Keep the calls short, guys, please. I keep saying I'm going to cut y'all off, and I don't because that just ain't me by nature. But that is the last time. If y'all keep running along with them calls, snip, snip, snip. I'm going to say, up. Too much talking. Thank you for the call, and I will respond to it as such. All right, let's move on to the next call. Whoa, wait a minute. CT Pittman, not again. Man, round of applause, brother. Thank you for the donation. Man, CT Pittman dropping that guapo. He says, thank you, Sim. Taking time away from your family to host Terrible Towel Tuesday can't be easy. It ain't. It ain't. I keep looking at the clock now. And I gotta commute tomorrow. Gotta go to DC tomorrow, man. This is a small token of appreciation, man. Thank you very much. And it's not small. It might be small in denomination, $50. But that ain't small for donating to a YouTube channel. So thank you very much. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Much appreciated. All right, let's move on, man. We have, looks like 4 calls. We have 4 more calls in the queue. Please, y'all. Quick and easy. And I'll try to do my best to be quick on responses as well. Area code 702. What you got for us?
Hello, Sam. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Alrighty. I'll just be quick. I don't think that we're gonna have to fire Mike Tomlin. I think people don't know what it's like to go through a rebuild. And like I said, I know you disagree with me probably on this, but we're a way better team than what people give us credit for, because a couple fumbles that don't happen, an interception in the red zone, and we'd be talking about a different score. But overall, Omar Khan's going to do what he does in the draft. And then we're going to pick up some good people to fill up those spots. Like, we need to fill up, for sure, a middle linebacker. We need a Shazier type, because we've been avoiding that. And then we bring in the plumber. We bring in all these people. I mean, it's something we can't keep not doing, It's like, that is the issue with, this is why our safeties come and don't play safety. This is why our corners have to play safety, because we keep missing middle linebackers. So hopefully Omar Khan takes his notes. He drafts who we need, and, we need to stop being so hard on this year, because you got Najee out here saying all these things, and we need more discipline. Like, no, we need guys who ain't going to drop the ball. That's it. Thank you for your time, y'all.
Man, thanks for the call. And, I love calls like that, too, because, listen, there's a lot of blame that we can throw around. And, yes, Mike Tomlin isn't void of it. But it also largely comes down to player execution and player skill. And that's a fact, man, in drafting and building the roster. And like I said, if anything that's positive about going into this offseason, and I'm going to try to make this thing fun throughout the offseason, man. We're gonna definitely talk a lot more about detailed things while there's no football for us. But I'm excited to see what Omar Khan is gonna do, man. We were all pumped up about how he addressed the roster. Now a full draft. Yeah, I'm very excited to see what they're gonna do in draft as well, and in a couple months in free agency. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see. But definitely, man, we definitely need a little more personnel in some key areas. And yeah, man, this team might be able to do something. We'll see. Area code 919, what you got for us?
Yo, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Look, I just got a couple things to say about this whole Tomlin situation, man. When are we as Steelers fans, as Steelers community, gonna stop living in the past? We always want to talk about these damn 6 Super Bowls. We always want to talk about Bill Cowher, didn't make the playoffs sometimes. Chuck Noll had losing seasons. We ain't done nothing in years. Tomlin ain't won a Super Bowl since 2008. He ain't been to a Super Bowl since 2010, 2011 against the Packers. He hasn't won a playoff game since 2016, 0-5 in the playoffs. And on top of that, he hired Matt Canada, who had no business being in the NFL. So we can sit here and make all the excuses in the world for why Tomlin should still be here and be careful what you wish for. But how can you say be careful what you wish for when your team hasn't done nothing in years? Well, we going to keep sitting back and keep losing playoff games and keep saying be careful what you wish for every year? It ain't like we got something to be excited for. We ain't got a young QB who's showing he could be a franchise quarterback, so we ain't got nothing to look forward to but the same old crap. So what is everybody behind Tomlin for? Making all these damn excuses instead of looking at it for what it is. The man hasn't done anything in a very long time. And when you look at his coaching staff, he's made mistakes with people who he's hired. When you go out and hire Matt Canada, who had no business in the NFL, you need to be looked at for that. Especially after having won anything in years. We can't keep living in the 6 Super Bowl days, guys. Those days are long gone because we ain't done nothing. And all I'm saying is, for the Steelers fans, for the Steelers community out there, the Yinzers, y'all gonna keep sitting here and being excited to go to the playoffs and lose, to just sneak into the playoffs, to get your hopes up, to get excited just to lose, and then get back on a YouTube show the next day and back Tomlin because he ain't had a losing season, because we got 6 Super Bowls.
Hold on, real quick. Hold on. Let me ask you a question, because it sounds like you're trying to take a quick shot. Who on YouTube is backing Mike Tomlin?
No. I'm saying get on a YouTube show, and then people in the comments want to back Mike Tomlin after losing a playoff, losing another playoff game. That's what I'm saying. I'm not taking a shot at your YouTube show. I'm saying people want to get on a YouTube show in the comments and keep doing the same thing every single season, sneaking into the playoffs, losing a playoff game, and then back Mike Tomlin when he ain't done. When we've been doing the same thing for years, but then want to say we got 6 Super Bowls, but then want to just bring up all the old stuff that when that happened years ago. That's all I'm saying. We've been sitting in the same thing for years, man. That's all I'm saying. So, I appreciate you taking my call, man. I had to say that, man, because, I see the same thing all the time after every playoff game about Tomlin, and we don't look at it for what it is, Not saying you, I'm just saying the Steelers community,
No, I'm with you. Listen, round of applause, man. I appreciate the call, and I will explain here in a moment. So let me explain why I'm giving him a round of applause. He came with his reasoning. Whether some of y'all agree with him or not, I'm not here to debate that. I just like when people give me actual reasons. What he says is a fact. We haven't won the playoff game since 2016. Even myself have said, man, the Killer B era, we're supposed to win something. I understand the defense was sucked, but can't be mad. I'm not mad at what he said. The only thing that I will always step in and say is, I don't agree when. Why do people always say people are making excuses? I don't like that statement. Maybe some are. I'm definitely not. It's not an excuse. So when I say something like, "Hey, grass ain't always green on the other side," I understand. We getting there and not winning. I'm just saying, we get another coach in there and we keep flipping these coaches and we having these 4-12 seasons and these. How y'all gonna feel then? I'm just saying. There's no guarantee that we to the moon. But like I also said, after 17 years, I'm not holding on to Tomlin. I still personally think Mike Tomlin is a good coach. I do. Yes, I know we ain't won since 2016, but that don't make me feel like he's not a good coach. But on the same side, if we go in another direction, I'm cool with that. It's been 17 years. We haven't been able to celebrate a playoff victory since 2016. That is a fact. Don't disagree with one word of that. So I think that's where some people get it misconstrued when I oppose people saying that Tomlin is a bad
90
coach.
seconds.
Oh, 90 seconds. So we talked a little too long, guys. Sorry for those of you that are still in the queue. I won't have time to get to your call. We got to find a way to make these faster. I'll say this, as I'm going to go ahead and close down Blog Talk right now. Thank y'all for tuning in to Blog Talk. I will say this.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.
I will say this. Since we no longer will have football, we should be able to get the phone calls a lot sooner. Because then in that case, we could just open the call lines up and there you have it. You know what I mean? It won't be so much to talk about. But that was a great call to end it on, man. Again, I think some people get it misconstrued, at least with me. Yes, I back Mike Tomlin in areas where I think he's good, but then I also give him criticism. But then I also lay out the facts as far as, well, I mean, look, you do have to account for something that there hasn't been a losing season in terms of judging him as a coach, not judging him as a Steeler football fan. Because again, we are spoiled. Whether y'all want to agree with that or not, we are. And I understand my man says stop living in the past, but the fact is, dog, the reason why I go to the past is, again, there's 2 teams with 6 Super Bowls, 2 other teams with 5. I think there's only 2 others with 5, right? The rest of them, they're few and far in between. So I'm only saying, logically, I mean, the percentage and chances of winning the Super Bowl is not easy. So I know we have a standard because we're Steelers fans. But the fact of the matter is, man, when it's your time, it's your time. That's just it. That's just it. And yeah, we have a right to feel that way because we are the black and gold. Yes, I understand. But I'm also saying, man, there's a lot more that goes into play with getting to the Super Bowl and winning a Super Bowl than just the head coach. That is my full opinion. Look at that game last night, man. The Philadelphia offensive line looked like a shell of themselves. Todd Bowles and them came out there and just stood right in their face. Beat us. That's what they said. Beat us. Philly was rolling all year, but they showed some suspect qualities. Dallas Cowboys showed a little suspect, a little vulnerable against the run midway through the season. And look what happened to him. So what I'm saying is, man, that does, to me, I don't think Nick Sirianni is a bad coach. Man, been in the playoffs 3 consecutive years. But see, I bet you homeboy in Philly, they might fire him. They ain't got no patience. And I'm not asking us to have patience after 17 years. I'm just saying, man, I think I've grown to be at a point in life, man, where I'm like, look, yeah, it's not as easy as I think. It hurts that my team ain't getting it done. I hate to continue seeing us losing the playoffs. But it ain't as easy as we all think, man. It can't be. It just can't be. So all I do every year is root for the team, man. Again, I said this before we got into the playoffs. I said this weeks ago. I said, look, if we stumble into the playoffs, we ain't going nowhere. We ain't going nowhere. I've been said that. Y'all heard me say it. So I was not disappointed yesterday. It hurt. Because you hate to see him lose, but I wasn't disappointed, man. I didn't believe in his team. So that's all I got, man. Let me see. 1 or 2 comments, man. I've been here with y'all quite long tonight, man, and I got to go get myself prepared for tomorrow. What y'all got, man? Real G Lee says, you and I agree that maybe he can win a Super Bowl, but there's no denying he has done nothing at all in over a decade, going on 2. Look, nobody can deny that. That's the thing. So I don't know if there's people in the chat, in the comments, that's overly defending Tomlin. Listen, there are certain facts that you can't defend. We haven't won anything. And I'm not even talking about Super Bowl. We've been in the playoffs now 5 times and have lost. That's bad. Regardless of who the coach is. That's bad. That's a bad percentage to say you're 0-5 in the last 5 playoff games. That's not a good feeling. Cannot refute that. Can't. Knight Rider says there is some they defended blindly. Yeah, and I don't agree with that either. You should not be defending stuff blindly like that. Facts are facts, whether it's in your favor or not. So here are a couple of facts about Mike Tomlin. He has never had a losing season. That is hard to come by because nobody else has done it for 17 straight seasons to start their career. Only 3 other coaches have had that type of run, which was Tom Landry, which was before my time, right? Bill Belichick, Mike Tomlin, and I forget who the other one was. So just that alone is why I say you can't discount what that means. Yes, it doesn't mean anything in terms of the Steelers and getting number 7. I know. But what I'm saying is when you blindly dismiss that, I have to pull your coattail and be like, hold on, man, you can't just gloss over that. He is the only one who's done it for 17 seasons. This is counting the 2019 season with Duck and Rudolph and whoever else. It's counting this season when Kenny Pickett wasn't playing well and guys like who else? Mitch Trubisky, number 10. I mean, but oh man, y'all going crazy out here, man. Y'all, man. Round of applause, man. Man. Shout outs to so many of y'all, man. Mariano Papa, thank you, man, for the gift. Oh, man. Knight Rider, wow. You and CT Pittman, I tell you. Y'all coming out here dropping it, man. Listen. Pause. Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. He says, just appreciate for the show and looking forward to the off season. Yeah, man, I am. And y'all inspire me to keep this thing rolling. It sucks that we ain't going to be able to do these after plays no more and the before plays, but I'm going to incorporate something else. Man, where we can get it popping, man. To keep this content coming out throughout the off season. And we're going to have a lot to talk about, man. We'll have a lot to talk about. And I'm going to make it my business to make sure I have topics to really hit on and accept more and more phone calls. So Listen, man, I'm going to get out of here for now. Y'all know the routine. Sorry, I just hit the microphone there. Y'all know the routine, man. If you haven't already, if you like what you saw here tonight, hit that like button. If you like the content, subscribe. Once you are subscribed, turn on that notification bell so you know when videos are live and or have been uploaded. Outside of that, I ask you guys to stay safe. God bless. Stay healthy. Have a great night. Great rest of the week. I may come to y'all at some point later in the week. I was going to say I'll see you for the before play, but guess what? We ain't playing no more. But I shall see y'all soon, man. Have a great one. Like always, thank you for tuning in. And I shall catch you in the next one. Peace.